Right, here we go for the last live demonstrations of the day. I shall be back in at sort of 8:30, 8:45 sort of time for finishing off, but this is the last set of crafting, our last set of live demonstrations. So I have a sort of semi-warm cup of tea still on the go there, and a couple of things that we're going to be playing with. Just waiting for this video to come up on my laptop, and I will share that across to the group. There we go. Share in a group. It's all exciting stuff, isn't it? So for this last session, we've gone through all of the sweets that I've had on pre-order, but I've got a couple of bundles, so I'm going to do sort of one card with each for this last session. So I've managed to do a bit of pre-cutting. Mike came in from work and made me a cup of tea. He's been sorting out the dinner, so I've been able to concentrate on getting these done. Right, so the first one we're going to play with is the Field of Flowers stamp set, and this bundle is the stamp set plus this confetti flower punch, and so it's like one of the border punches. You can use it to create a border of punched out flowers, but it also very cleverly has a stamp in here, and we did use this for a project a little while ago. I can't remember what that was, a wreath of some sort, but you can stamp the flowers and then line them up and punch them out, so you can get lots and lots of little punched flowers which you can then place amongst other places on the top of your little field just here. I mean, obviously you can leave your field as it is, you don't have to put flowers on it. It has already got some floral images on there, but that's one of the things that you can do with it. And one of the things that we are going to do with it. And the other bundle that we're going to look at in a bit is the Birds and Branches one. But let's concentrate on the Field of Flowers first. A quick slurp of tea. The host code is still there. Obviously, it's at top of groups, top of pages. If you do want to order anything and you need the host code, it's just there. Right, so I've got some sort of bits of cardstock, Flirty Flamingo and Whisper White card here that I've already cut. So I've made a Whisper White card base, and then I wanted these layers. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of Flirty Flamingo cardstock, and you can see I've used 2 stitch rectangles to cut those 3 pieces out of that one bit of card. And obviously once we've stuck all those together, you won't see the holes. Couldn't do that with the Whisper White because I needed the Whisper White to be whole to stamp on. So that did have to be 3 separate pieces of Whisper White cardstock. But let's just pop these to one side for a moment while we concentrate, first of all, on our background piece, which is this one. So I am going to take some Pear Pizzazz ink, and I'm going to take this long stamp with these grasses and things on, and I'm also going to take a long block. You won't have that one, I'll have that one. That one fits. You should always go to the block that fits your stamp nearest. You don't want a block that's too big, otherwise you will find that it rocks and you might get some over stamping, which we don't want. Excuse me, sneezing. Right, so let's take our, I'm going to just move that out the way for a moment because otherwise it will give me a bit of a lip when I'm stamping. So let's take our piercing mat. Now, they were going to retire this, and then they changed their mind and they haven't. So if you've had a catalogue from me, somewhere with all the tools and things, you will just find a sticker that gives you instructions for the piercing mat. Obviously, if you do want one and you can't find that, then do shout and I will help you with that. Right, I'm going to start from that end and stamp that there. Isn't that lovely? I'm then going to come back down to this end. Now, I'm not worried particularly about any overlapping and things here, or if there's a bit of a gap. Actually, that looks pretty good, but because I know that there's a panel going in there, so I wasn't particularly worried about that. If you're worried about getting ink and things on your mats, then by all means cover them. You don't have to stamp on your mat like I do. You don't have to do as I do. In fact, quite a lot of the time, it's probably best that you don't. Not advisable. Who we got? Hi Emma, Charlotte, Caroline. Caroline, you're now coming up as a top fan. Who knew? I think after today, everybody will be coming up as top fans. Right, so that's our little bit of greenery. I'm now going to take this little flower stamp. No, it won't quite go on there. Let's find a block that it will fit on. I think it'll come on there. And then what I want is just some... Ooh, not that random bit. That's not a random bit. I'm using that bit. That has a purpose, that little bit. Let's dig about in my my scraps box. So let's pop that to one side for a minute, and then I'm going to take this piece of card here and some Flirty Flamingo ink. And I'm just going to stamp these little flowers, something cute. And I'll turn that round and stamp those that way. So that's just giving me a good little smattering of tiny flowers. I'm going to pick up this little tray and maybe glad of that to gather my little flowers. Now, the first challenge, or perhaps the only challenge, is getting these to line up in your punch. So you might find, I'm sure eventually I will work out the strip of card, the optimum strip of card for fitting it in here. Now I've cut that to too small. So what we will do now that I've cut it to too small, wasn't thinking that one through, I'm going to take a strip of card and a tape runner, and I'll make a handle. Right, okay. So you can always do that with any punches that you're struggling to get to line up. You can always make yourself a handle. Now, I think with a bit of a wiggle, 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 wiggle. Oh, got you. And let's just pick up our little flowers and we'll put them in that tray. And then let's have a look at this set of flowers. And again, if you're nearly there and you just want to hold it in place and check, you can just squeeze it together without pushing down enough to punch it, but just enough for it to grip. And that gives you a bit of a chance just to think, is that right? This top one, I think I just need to shave a bit off of there so that that top one will go in properly. That's better. It just was too wide and it was forcing it down. Gotcha. So now we have a whole load of little stamped Flirty Flamingo flowers. Now obviously I've done those on white. I could have done those on Flirty Flamingo card and just had it tone on tone. But very cute. So what we will be able to do is hi Sally. What we will be able to do now is just take some little spots. Don't worry too much just there, because as I say, there's going to be a bit of a border bit going in there. A little one. Actually, what I will do is I was going to say grab my sticky end for my take a pick tool, but it seems to have gone walkabouts. It's not on my pick it up tool at the moment because I've got the brush end on there. Never mind. Just put a few of these little flowers on here. I think I'll have a smaller one in there. So that just gives you that little sense of flowers in the meadow. So really cute. I've got a couple more little ones there if I need to call on them in a minute. So that is that bit. And that will sit on there, and that will sit on there. So we've started. So our next piece of white card is this one here, and for this one we're going to take this tall flower just here, this tall stem, and these little flower heads just here, and we're going to stick with the Flirty Flamingo and the Pear Pizzazz. We're not going to change out our colours, we're going to stick with those. Sorry, wobbling you. Let's give that a bit of a clean. And I'll put those on there, and I'll put this stem on there. So let's pick this up to start with. I'm going to have that coming across this white stitched rectangle just there, and then these two flower heads. So you've got two stamps together on two flowers together on one stamp, which suggests that they're going to quite nicely stamp on there. Beautiful. And that is going to come up onto here, and that is then going to sit in the foreground just there. So last piece of white card, and I think for this one I'm going to start off with this word always. Always look on the bright side of life. I don't think I've got that sentiment in there. There's lots of little things. So you've got the big always, and then you've got little sort of alternatives that you can use, mix and match. Hi Div, alongside your always. So I'm going to turn that over and pick it up this way so that we haven't stretched it. So we're going to have the word always at the top there. And then I think we'll have thinking of you. And we'll do that in Flirty Flamingo. And what we might do is just add in just some of our little flowers just here. So let's have a big one and two of the smaller ones. And this is going to go on that rectangle just there. So let's bring it all together. So to start with, we'll put some glue around the edge of this one. And onto this mat. Obviously we've got a hole in the middle, so I haven't put glue there just yet, but we will now. We'll come round and put glue all over that and stick that down there. And then we will put glue around the edge of this one and stick it to this frame. And then we'll grab some dimensionals for that, I think. My dimensionals seem to have stuck to each other for some reason. This one seemed to be a bit sticky. I think actually if I put that dimensional just inside that frame rather than over the two layers, I'm going to have that coming about there, and that sits pretty perfectly within the frame of that back Flirty Flamingo mat. We'll put that one on there. This one is going to come across this way. It's a shame we're losing all of our flowers. So let's go on an angle. Let's go on a jaunty angle. And then we've got the flowers peeping underneath. So I'm going to put some dimensionals that side. Ooh. And I'll just put a little bit of glue that end just to hold that down. And if we have that coming up like that, we've got our flowers peeping out underneath. And I think I'm just going to take this little dragonfly and some pear pizzazz we'll just have a couple of little dragonflies. Oh, now I've got a splodge on there. You have to bring in our other flower. Right, so that's a cute little card using the Field of Flowers stamp set with the confetti flower punch coordinating. So that's a lovely little bundle, and these greetings and things, sentiments in here are going to be really useful and ones that we're going to keep going to. And I think these little flowers are going to be useful as well. They're a nice little addition. Just if you just need a little bit of a smattering of something and you don't want it to be a rhinestone, you want a bit of something else, you've got a little flower. And the dragonflies are going to be, they're the sort of thing that are really useful if you've got a blob that you need to cover. Always pop a dragonfly on, or a butterfly. So let's just clean that up, and then we're going to go and have a look at the birds. So from dragonflies to birds, not the birds and the bees, the birds and the dragonflies. Right, there's the other stamp set I was looking for. Pop those away. All present and correct. Okay. I'll pop that to one side for a minute. I'll come back to that one. And we're going to have a play with the birds. Now again, I've done a bit of cutting and things getting ready. I've even done a bit of stamping and smooshing, just because this was another stamp set that I hadn't used at all. So I was just having a bit of a play to see what it does. So let's find it in the catalogue to start with. Page 120, if I remember right. Yes, here we are. So it's the Birds and Branches, and this is a stamp and die collection. So really pretty. One of the things that struck me instantly with this that I absolutely love is, look, their little feet are separate and you can die cut their feet. So no more trying to cut round birds' feet. In actual fact, it would be worth seeing if these birds' feet match up with the birds in the Free as a Bird set, because doing feet is a nightmare. And as you can see here on the dies, there's the die. You can either have long feet, you can either have feet on the end of legs, or just the little feet. You have both options. There's the feet on the end of legs. Here's just the little feet. You've also got two lots of bird dies in here. You've got this sort of detailed bird die, as well as just the outline bird die. You've got this nice piece of branch, this nice piece of greenery. You've got the nest, so that you can stamp the nest and cut that out. You've got the eggs, so you can stamp the eggs and die cut those. And you've got like these leaves and petals and a little heart. And then in the stamp set, as well as the birds, you've got 3 stamps there. So you can do a 3-step stamp. So you could do the background, the detail, and then the wing separately on both of those birds. If you want to, you've got these lovely little flowers in there, and these leaves that sit on these branches. So you can do your branches with your little smatterings of leaves. There's your heart. I think that's more leaves. Is that? Let's have a little look if we've got a clue in the catalogue for that one. I'm wondering whether it's shading on a flower, whether it gives extra shading to this flower just here. Oh, that one's a bit of a mystery. We'll have to do some research on that one, what that little stamp is just there. There is, I think, a YouTube video for this one. I'll have to have a look. I haven't looked at that one yet. Okay, so let's have a look. So also in the dies, as well as those bits, you also get this circular die, which is really beautiful. Gives you this sort of aperture with the leaves and things going round. And you get this border die, which is gorgeous, and that, so a bit like this card just here, it doesn't cut all the way through, it just gives you a border to your card. So you've got this border coming along there. So rather lovely. We're not planning on using the border today, but I am planning on using these little bits, which is why I've got those out. Right, so what I've done here, we'll come back to him in a minute, is I've cut a 9.9 centimetre wide strip of card that I've scored at 9.9, and then I've folded it and used my bone folder to burnish it to make a tri-fold card that's opening like this. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to cut this wreath from the front panel. So let's do that. Well, I've not used these dies and things yet, so let's see. So that's all going to pop out of there like that. Isn't that lovely? Lovely stuff. Now I've got two pieces of Whisper White square cardstock here that I've cut to 9.4 centimetres. One's going to be the centre panel, and one is going to be this panel just here that's going to sit behind there. So we're going to decorate that, and then that will be our greeting inside. So let's concentrate on this bit for a moment. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a balmy blue sponge and some balmy blue ink, and I'm going to do some sponging. Let's move that mat out the way for a minute. Just softly sponge over this piece of cardstock so that it's a touch of sky. You don't need it to be particularly dark. I'm just going to leave it like that. If we need to go back in and add any more at a later stage, we can do. Now we want, this is coming behind here. I want some branches and leaves coming in the background, so I might well need both branches, these leaves. So let's find this long block to start with, and we'll grab our soft suede ink pad. And let's think, so sort of about this bottom bit about here. It's not a fixed in stone, but I'm going to have this coming here like this, and it sort of is one of those stamps that gives you almost like a watercolourish type effect. Right, okay, where's my other little branch gone? I did get that out, didn't I? Have I locked it on the floor? Have I didn't get it out, it's still here. That's why I can't find it. Let's have this branch coming up a bit just here. And then because we are going to open this up and be able to see inside, we'll have one coming down there just like that. So as this is shut, you've just got that sort of branch going on inside. And then we'll get our Granny Apple Green, which is the colour that we've used for our card. And I get this block just here. Let's ink up these leaves. Now obviously if it was winter, we wanted to make a Christmas birdie card, we perhaps wouldn't have any leaves at all. But they just sit on the ends of those branches. There we go. Now have our leaves showing through in the background. Hi Beryl. Now I'm going to take the little flower set and there's the dinky block just there. I think we'll go Mango Melody with the flowers. So let me just grab a bit of, I'm going to need that. Have a bit of Whisper White. And we'll just have a few of these flowers. So I'm going to do 3 big ones, and then I'm going to bring in sort of half a flower. Sort of a flower bud, and we'll have a couple of those. So we'll cut those out in a minute, but before we do that, is that soft suede? Yeah. I'm going to bring in, I've already done one little bird, so let me do his friend. Now as I said, we could go with 3-step stamping with this one. That's the little bird I did do. Let's do his friend. So I could do a background piece, then add in the detail and then go in with another colour for his wings. But what I've actually done with this one, and what I'm going to do with his or her mate as well, is I just stamped it in soft suede, and then I grabbed some Calypso coral and a sponge dauber, and I just daubed. It doesn't matter if it goes over the edge because we're going to die cut these. Daubed his tummy with Calypso coral, and then I got just a touch of balmy blue and another sponge dauber and added in some blue. So they're quite chaffinch-esque, if there is such a thing. Right, let's give them some feet. And I've gone with just the little, claws. So what I'll do with those is, oh, where's that gone? And one goes one way and one goes the other. There's their little feet. So you obviously don't need to die cut those. You could stamp them out, cut them out afterwards. Just sort of stamp them in afterwards, not cut them out afterwards. Right, let's get some dies. I'll put these ones on my magnetic mat just here. So that's that one. That's that one. Oh, feet. I think that's the one that goes that way. And that's the one that goes that way. These little dies actually look like upside down cupcakes. I am a die missing because I changed my mind about using the blossom. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, I think I'll bring back in my magnetic base plate. Ooh. Crunch, rattle, roll. If you could see me, you'd howl with laughter. I'm sitting here with my foot up on a cushion, trying to bring the swelling down on it. Hey ho. I've managed most of the day and I got to tea time and it really started to swell up, but that's probably because I've been on my feet all day. Silly insects. Do they not know I'm not for eating? Right, now this is the problem that I think, let me see if where that die pings. I think the new style die cutting machine, when we get it, the magnetic plate solution there won't do that. I'm going to come back and do, I think both of those I'm going to have to come back and do, but I'm going to have to run some more flowers through anyway. So let's line up one flower and that's going to do the same. Got you. Those top ones have moved. How dare you? You're not supposed to move. Good job, I spotted you. So one little bird, two little birds, two little flowers. We'll move these around so that we can get them on the place on the mat that's not going to jump. If all else fails, we'll just move away from the magnetic base plate. Come along. It's just where you've got magnets in the plate underneath and where you've got two magnets that sort of are close to each other, they just cause it to jump. Gotcha. No moving. Let's do this one. And hopefully we'll be able to do that one. Oh. Moved my top plate as I was, slipped my top plate as I was moving it across. Sometimes you just think, don't you, it'd be just as easy just to cut these out. Oh, I'm going to have to stand up. I'm going to take off my magnetic platform. The bigger dies don't tend to have such a problem with this because they obviously cover a bigger surface area. But as I say, I think that's something that will be solved with the new machine. That will not be an issue. Little feet. Little feet with little tabs to stick them onto the bottom of the bird. Really useful. And then last but not least, last little flower. There we go. Right. Oh. Let's put these together. So I'm going to put our stamped tree on the inside just there, and we're going to close this up. Let's pop some feet on this bird. And let's pop some feet on this bird. So whereas the free as a bird set is sort of, let me grab it, it's beautiful. But these are sort of realistic line drawings of birds, whereas this one is more sort of watercolour effect birds. Oh, how have I managed to get that on there? So I'm going to have one little bird sitting down here. Now what I'm going to do is put some glue. I'm going to open it up. Put the glue directly onto here rather than on the bird, so that it's not coming through to the other side. And then the other little bird I'm going to have sitting, little tail's going to stick over the side a bit. Have him sitting over there. I can put a little bit of glue on the end of his tail to help secure him. like that. And then we'll put in these little flowers. Again, making sure that the glue doesn't go through the hole and stick underneath. I definitely should have another big flower somewhere, shouldn't I? I'm not imagining that. When I find my other flower, where's that gone? Have I dropped it? We've got one more little flower to come in up there, which seems to, for the moment, have gone walkabout. Let's bring in these little bird feet so they don't get lost. It's not standing out anywhere obvious. I will add that in as soon as I find it, else I will put another, cut out another one and add that in. So we've got our little birds on the front, the sky behind, and that's going to open up, and then this one is going to be on the inside. So what shall we have on our inside? I'm going to take our little yellow flower and our mango melody. And we'll just have a few little flowers coming round the top. The good thing about photopolymers is you can normally line them up. And we just need a little something to go in the middle there. Let's have this "You Are So Special" from the Tasteful Touches, and we'll stamp that in Granny Apple Green. Stick those down. As I say, the minute I find that other flower, I will pop that on the front. But there's a little bird card. So those are our final two cards for live demoing today. A couple of really cute little bundles, both of them very sweet. Hi Molly. I will be back over on the group at Harper State for the answers for the quiz if you've been taking part in that, and I'll be back here on the page live over on in both places for a bit of a roundup at 8:45. So I will see you all then.